Make sure you use your mics.
Hello. Okay. Welcome to the City of Lakewood Beach Planning and Zoning Board meeting, City Hall. Commission Chamber, Wednesday, May 7th, 2025. It is now 6 p.m. You have the roll call, please, according to absences.
Oh, Sherry. She'd have to come back after 9. Marcom?
Here.
Juan Crum?
Here.
Daniel Valesky?
Here.
Dave Matthews?
Here.
Mary Foskey?
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you. Okay, we'll stand please for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, for the staff, are there any additions, deletions, reordering agenda?
There are no additions, deletions, or items to be reordered.
Second. Favor? Aye. All right, approval of the minutes, March 5th, 2025 minutes. Second. All in favor? Aye. Okay, there we go. Cases, swearing in of the staff and applicants.
Raise your right hand if you plan to give testimony. Do you swear and affirm the testimony you give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? If so, say yes. Yes. Thank you.
Okay. We have a proof of publication for 2501500002 511 East Southeast Coast Street.
Yes, that was provided in the packet.
Much. Any withdrawals and postponements?
Nope.
Okay. Okay, public hearing, board disclosures. Has anybody done anything that the people in Key West did? You guys didn't hear about that? Look at the Key West building official and see what you find online. Pretty scary stuff. Does anybody have anything to disclose? Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Unfinished business, new business, PZB project number 25-011-00001. Consideration of a replat for Madison Terrace at 821 South Dixie Highway and 818-832 South H Street. Properties are zoned transit oriented development, East Todd-D, and have a future land use designation of transit oriented development, TOD Todd.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chair. So, like we just heard, this is a replat for the Madison Terrace project. You all may recall this came before you last year as well. We've had a slight change in the boundaries that are being platted. They were able to acquire that last holdout parcel. If you recall previously, there was kind of a funky cutout on the west side. So you can see here on the location map, their parcel 1 and parcel 2 that they have on the plat. So quick project history. This was approved by City Commission for a mixed-use urban plan development back in September of 2023. This platting of the properties was a condition of approval. So this is going to be affordable age-restricted apartments for senior residents, 2 6-story buildings. Like I said, this went to you guys in October of last year, but subsequently, prior to the project going to City Commission for the plat approval, they did acquire 822 South H Street. So that alters their phase lines, the replat request, and that also does require a major amendment to their plan development. They will be requesting a few more units in their project, but that will be coming to you all and to City Commission later. That is a totally separate plan development amendment. This is just the platting of the parcels. Do we have a question, Juan, or?
I was just looking at it, is that the one that's under construction at the moment?
They are
Right.
currently under construction for their first building. Yes,
Okay.
they've gotten
So-
permits for that one.
So they would expand that. So they finally got hold of the person that owned that house, but I drove by there this morning. Just to take a look, to see what was going on, to see if that person was still living there.
Yeah.
And the house was gone, so.
Yes, yeah, they did. They got that property, they demolished that house, and
Right.
it's getting folded into the project now. Yeah, so it will, the parcels will have to have unified control, and the primary address, I believe, will be 821 South Dixie Highway. Right now, they still have all of their individual addresses under the property appraiser, and in our system, which is why in our description of the project, we listed all of those out. But the primary address, once constructed, will be 821 South Dixie. So we've got a visual of that final plat. I know it's kind of hard to read all the skinny black and white lines, but it just lays out the two parcels, and then the various easements that will be established as part of this, mostly utility easements, but there is also a cross-access easement from parcel 1 to parcel 2 during construction. So our analysis, we've had our staff, our city attorney, and our consultant surveyor review the replat. We are still working through a few conditions of approval with the and comments from the consultant surveyor, but the surveyors are basically working with each other for their final touches. Mostly changes to like language that's on the replat. So we do recommend that you all recommend approval to the city commission. And for now, our conditions of approval are that prior to city commission approval, the plat and easement language shall address all comments from our city attorney, consultant surveyor, and SPRT reviewers. Prior to the city commission's approval, we also need the surveyor's letter of conformity and that hard copy Mylar that will be signed once it's all approved. And then we have a standard condition of approval that comes from our code about a letter of credit or cash bond for work impacting utilities or right of way. Our water and sewer utilities did also add a condition of approval for a temporary utility easement that needs to be provided until they are able to relocate some of their utilities. Seeing the applicant on Zoom tonight, but if you all have any questions.
One, I'm really glad that they incorporated that lot. That was one of the things that we talked about when we approved the plot the first time around, and they just weren't able to, so I think it's way better than having a random lot.
Yeah.
But on the, I know that we already talked way back about the dedication. They got the dedication of the alleyway. This plat looks like they also got a dedication of part of Ninth Avenue. Is that correct?
Correct, that was in the original approval session way back in 2023 was abandonment of 9th Avenue South, so they got, I believe it was half of that right of way.
And is Ninth Avenue South not gonna be maintained as a roadway anymore? Is that part of the?
I believe it was not previously an active roadway.
They only did.
Yeah, so they abandoned the north half of it, but I don't think I have much of an aerial image, but and yeah, that north half of 9th Avenue South, that was part of the original plan development process. But yes, I believe it was basically not actually an improved roadway at the time, so we aren't losing an active road.
My only, just to say one thing that, I know this was approved a little bit outside of the zoning rules for being a 6-story building, and that got a pass because of the nature of it. I just don't know future development, what people may say if they look in the lead one. I'd like to do one.
They were able to get to 6 stories because of Not through Live Local, actually. I think this was a little too early to be Live Local at the time. They were able to stack as a planned development, they were able to stack incentives for sustainable bonus and then the transfer of development rights program. And that stacking is how they got to 6.
I'm saying it does set a precedent. At some point or another.
Yeah,
But
I just want to make sure it's clear that it was completely within the zoning rules and not outside them, that they got their pay.
it's not everyone will be able to stack in the way that they were able to stack to get to that height, but yeah, our code does allow for that increase of intensity.
I also drove around there today and up around Ninth Avenue. So what you're saying is there will not be a Ninth Avenue anymore? Is that, the building is, and it will not be a through street or an avenue, or what are you calling Ninth Avenue now?
So a section of 9th Avenue South adjacent to this property was abandoned. The entirety of 9th Avenue South throughout the city was not abandoned.
Yeah, no. But this is that section that's going on there, going to be abandoned, that section.
Correct, yes. A north section of that bit of 9th Avenue South was abandoned and is now going to be part of this parcel and development.
But the only thing I remember that was granted a variance for this was a reduction in parking because that is. Because it's 6 feet older, it was a reduction. I think that number, I think they're only like 5 parking spaces per unit. And it is true that a lot of people, it's like, simply have able to rely on public transportation or public transportation, all of those things like that, so that's what's.
there's definitely exceptions to this.
But I think that was the only variance. I don't think they had any variance on how you heard it. It might have been something I. But that's already all done. It's just flat. And I would.
Others
Before you go, just want to remind board members that if you go by the site and do site investigations, that is considered something that you need to disclose for your board disclosures. So has anyone else gone by and visited the site?
I live a block from it, how to drive through it, so.
Okay, just, I want to make sure, because when you say you've gone by there, there's, if it's just, I drive by there every day, I noticed it, but I haven't investigated the site, then that's good.
Like you must always.
Okay, great, thank you. I just want to make sure that we're clear. Okay, thank you.
Okay, do we have recommendation?
I would move to recommend approval of PZB project number 25-011-00001. Staff recommended conditions from final replat of Madison Terrace project. The proposal meets the applicable criteria based on the data and analysis.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'm gonna recuse myself for the next.
Cotton, before you go, you need to put on the record what your conflict is.
My conflict is my firm process request.
Thank you.
Okay, so I think this needs to be marked number 4-015-00002.
Hi, my name is Karina Maldonado. I'm the Senior Community Planner for the Department of Community Sustainability. So we're here to talk about a variance request for 511 Southeast Coast Street. The subject site is depicted on this aerial image. It is at the northwest corner of 6th Avenue South and Southeast Coast Street. The parcel is a little over an acre. There are 2 structures on the site that were built in 1935. And this year, the applicant requested to apply for a variance. The applicant is requesting to to place fencing, 6-foot tall fencing to be placed 3.5 feet from the front property line, where the fence regulations require that fencing to be set back to the minimum building setback line on the front of the lot for traffic vision purposes. And for this zoning district, it has a minimum 10-foot front setback. So here's an enlarged image of the proposed site plan. Most of the existing site already has perimeter fencing. They except the south portion of the property. So in our analysis, we found that the proposal actually meets all 4 of the variance criterias. The applicant is proposing to fence in this site completely for security purposes. Right now on the south side, one of the existing buildings is currently located about 1 foot from the front property line, so it already encroaches into the minimum setback requirement. Onto the east side of the building, they have an existing landscape buffer. And on the east side of the building, there is an entrance door. So if the applicant were to follow the fence requirements of setting the fence back to the minimum 10-foot setback requirement, it may negatively affect the circulation of the site. So anyone who would drive into the site, park, they would have to park internally, walk outside of the property, then walk back in to enter that one of the doors. And it would affect the site circulation as well. And if the fence regulations also require the 10-foot setback be for vision purposes, but the site ingress and egress is entered through the east side of the property, not the south side. And the applicant will be maintaining a 20-foot visibility triangle at that corner, so it wouldn't affect the visibility. So based on our staff analysis, we found that the proposal meets all of the variance criterias, including the special circumstances of the property, and that there are strict applications of the LDRs that would deprive the property owners of reasonable use of the land. So we are recommending that the Planning and Zoning Board approve the proposed variance with the following condition of approval: that a minor site plan and building permit is still required for the proposed fencing, which is a typical condition for new fencing on commercial properties. I have motions here, and I have some photos of the property and the full site plan if you want to see that.
I would suggest that we're going to take questions for staff, that we ask them, and then let the applicant do their presentation.
Yeah, the only thing I just want to make sure that the line of sight's all right with the new fence.
Yes, they do depict that on the proposal. So by code, they're required a 20-foot visibility triangle, so they will be maintaining that.
Okay, thank you. I also noted that eventually the motion that it doesn't state that it will be actually 3.6 feet.
Back to the motion. So it's to allow fencing to encroach in the minimum front setback.
So I think, are you saying that you prefer if it specified the exact encroachment in the motion?
It's now asking the fence to be within 3.6 feet of the property. And what I'm saying is, in the motion, shouldn't that be stated, the actual amount that in other words, was approved, is approved, to the variance request say that it will be because it's going to be 3.6 feet and not 10 feet, or just 3.6 feet? I'm just asking.
Yes, you can provide that in the motion to specifically say that to allow fencing to be 3.5 feet from the front property line.
Yeah, right.
Mhm.
Any other questions of staff? That is the applicant here. Would you like to speak?
Good evening. My name is Marcia, and our client has come to us for this issue, applying for the variance due to the fact that he was concerned for the issue of having security. Since security on the property, since the building is already non-conforming with the property line, he is concerned that placing this fence within the 10-foot setback would create a space allowing for unhoused population to be in that area after hours. And the client wants to put the fence within 3 feet and 6 inches of the property line to not allow that unhoused population to be on the property after hours. Due to the fact that already from the site photos and the presentation, there is already a shrubbery line, as well as FDOT had placed a brick wall on the property already. So if that shrubbery line, as well as the fence, there is an opportunity for an unhoused population to loiter in that area. And due to the fact that the business itself is automobile repair. So he uses that area for storage of cars. And every night he has to take away his business in order to secure the lot from said security issues. So maintaining that the fence will be placed at 3 foot 6 inches. It would allow for security within the whole entire property, and so that he can conduct his business in a safe and secure manner.
Is there any public comments? The public. Okay. The only comment that I have is I didn't realize Southeast Coast Road was an alleyway. But from the plans, it shows it as a 10-foot improved alleyway. I'm sure that's correct. It's one of those things that you learn about Lakewood. Some of the roads are actually not wide enough to meet our road standards in our alleys. And other ones are roads. Just interesting to learn. I find that if you guys looked at the packet, I'm looking at a picture that was part of our packet. It was sent to us board members. And this is one of those little brick walls that has the street address, the letter street, and behind it is vegetation. So if they're put 10 feet back, there would be an area that would be screened by vegetation on one side, and by the other. That doesn't provide any benefit. And for all the reasons stated, supporting the variance. You can see their door would be blocked by it, great access. And that's I do a square place for me. So thanks. But I would like that motion.
I move to approve ZB project 125-015 0000 for variance request to allow fencing to approach the minimum setback at 511 Southeast Street. Project meets the variance criteria based on the added analysis of staff. Having 3 foot 6 inches.
And subject to staff conditions. So I'm asking.
And staff conditions.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Passes unanimous. Okay, come back in if you would like to.
Okay.
It looks like, no, any planning issues.
Nope, no planning issues tonight.
Any public comment on non-agenda items? Yes,
Do we want to invite Juan back in before?
I thought, I don't know if he's listening, but yeah, let's keep it.
He might be out in the hallway. Thanks, Dad.
Whole thing.
So what else?
Shoot.
No planning issues. We are at public comment.
Public comment. Public district. There you go.
Hi there. Today.
Oh, please speak into the microphone. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Todd Townsend, and I wanted to come in today to see if I could drop some stuff off to you to maybe do a presentation here next month. Like 15 minutes. If I could just give all this,
Sure.
just, to look at it and decide.
Give it tough to them.
Let me see if I could come in and have like a little 15-minute presentation. Oh, man, from Massachusetts, calling more. Hang on. That's all I wanted to say. Can I?
Okay, I think if you need to contact someone, you should look at the planning and zoning staff. There's Scott Rodriguez right behind you, you can look them up.
Okay.
And some of the staff here and they can try to guide you and make a presentation.
Oh, that'd be great. I really appreciate it.
All right,
Thank you.
thank you very much. Okay, department reports, anything?
Just a quick note that we will be doing variance training at the June meeting. We
Mhm.
pushed it from the workshop since we didn't have. You won't be here in June, July meeting. Sorry.
What date is that in July?
Is it July 2nd?
The standard meeting.
Yeah, it would be the standard meeting, not another workshop, so it looks like. Yeah, July 2nd is your guys' regularly scheduled date. We were going to do it in June and then Elizabeth reminded me that she is out of town. So.
It's for the July meeting.
And I think July is out.
Okay,
July.
Last year you got that.
so the, yeah,
So what we do the 16th.
yeah, so the, we could get the other city attorney to do the presentation. We will look at June or July and let you all know by email. Cause yeah, it sounded like July might need to be reworked.
All right, board member comments? Anything? Anything? None from me. All right, we are adjourned. Thank you.